record on this computer. All right. It's November 17th, Q4 of 2021, and Brent Humphries, President-elect for PMI Central Iowa, and Lynn Aubrey, President 2021 for PMI Central Iowa. We were talking a while ago and decided that we would like to start doing a podcast, just little snippets and us talking about topics, stuff from global, stuff for the chapter, stuff in the project management industry itself, various things. We're going to be asking for input from listeners, viewers. Send us emails, topics you'd like us to talk about. Otherwise, we're just going to talk about things that we've heard about recently, and some of it will be of interest. So we're going to try to keep these short, but anyone who's met me knows I like to talk. I like to share.
In fact, these are the kind of conversations that we'll typically have when it's not being recorded. So being in a position to have this information to share with others, hey, great thing. Listeners, viewers, subscribers, members, and friends, Romans, and countrymen. So
right.
All good things. Yeah.
Excellent. And we are going to reach out to Brian, who's going to be our incoming president-elect 2022, and have him join us when he can. So currently we don't have a set schedule. We're just going to do these as we have time to, and post them and send out information that they're out there. So that's our plan for this for now. And I did want to touch a little bit right away on incoming, outgoing, getting text messages as we talk, because that's how I roll.
Of course. Are you getting them on one phone or two? I know that I was getting them on two.
On my desktop, on my phone, on my watch, and on my iPad, which is charging on the floor.
Lynn, you are far too connected for this day and age, I tell you.
Oh my gosh.
So while Lynn's dealing with that, I do want to mention that we will be referencing a few things that we won't necessarily have readily shareable either on the video or the recording. Those will be in the show notes or in the accompanying blog post that will go with this. So if you hear us talking about something and you're not sure what link to follow, check the notes or the blog post, and the details should be there.
Yep, exactly. All right, incoming and outgoing. So our chapter runs pretty much on a calendar basis. So January 1st, some new officers come in, some officers leave the board, and VPs get elected. We had an election. Yay, everybody who voted. Thank you. Woo. And those VPs sit for 2 years, a two-year term. And our directors, just a step below the VPs, they serve, we ask for a year commitment, and then we get to the end of the year and say, would you like to stay with us? We would love that. And then they usually sign up for another year. The president-elect is elected and sits for a year as president-elect, and then a year as president, and then a year as past president. So president position is like a 3-year commitment, just as an FYI. So we will have some people who are currently with us leaving as of December 31st. The board, not leaving the chapter, just the board. And then we'll have some new people coming on, some who've been with us for a while, and some who will probably look like new faces. But we're really excited about 2022. And as always, for everybody who's listening to this, members of PMI Central Iowa chapter, we are always looking for volunteers. We are looking for some director positions. We have Collaborate to Succeed, our mentorship program. We have PDD, positions that will be opening up, and I'll talk about more about PDD in a few minutes. And if you have something that you would like to volunteer for specifically, but you don't see it listed on the website, contact us anyway and see if we have anything or we want to start something that would fit that bill. That's awesome. And we are always looking for positions to help run the chapter. So not necessarily project management specific activities, but things that keep the chapter running, the lights on, and our chapter moving forward, organizing special events, new programs. So there's always opportunities and possibilities. Reach out and talk with us. We have a director of volunteers that is a great person to reach out to, or you can reach out to really any board member and talk to them about volunteering for their area if you're interested in something specific. So,
And it's worth pointing out that while the president role is a 3-year commitment, even though you're only technically president for 1 year, and vice president commitments are 2 years and director commitments are 1 year, there are lots of ways to engage on shorter time frames and in smaller chunks. So if you're in a position where you're interested in doing something in particular or helping out in a particular way, there's definitely ways to do that that don't necessarily require you to sign in blood or ink or whatever we're using in 2021 these days.
right.
So if you wanted to volunteer for a very specific task related to Professional Development Day, or if you had an idea for a new type of networking or social event that perhaps we should do. I know a couple of years ago, we had a board member who thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we had a book club? And everybody agreed, yes, it would be cool to have a book club. And so now we have a book club.
Yes.
If you have a book club type idea, then maybe it's a thing that also needs to be a book club, but not the sense that it's a book club, but in the sense that it's the thing that you were thinking of.
You want to do a breakfast chat and just, have like a networking thing, not necessarily in person. We do have a chapter Zoom account, so we could offer that up. Just run a BYOB breakfast, not beer.
A breakfast club.
A breakfast club,
As
a lunch club. I want to help organize an event, something in July. Sure, absolutely. Feel free to reach out to us. There's lots of micro opportunities, especially when we start meeting back in person. We'll be looking for people to sit at the registration table or welcome people in, making sure that newcomers are welcome and have someone to talk to. Yeah, there's lots of things. There's lots of things that we can find you guys to do. And volunteering is a wonderful thing. It's a very helpful thing. It is the lifeblood of a chapter, but also let us not forget that you can use those volunteer hours for some PDUs for your certifications if you have certifications with PMI. I think you might be able to use them for maybe some other certifications, but I was thinking PMI specifically. So awesome. I did mention PDD, and I did want to talk about that just a little bit. We had an amazing PDD. You guys will hear me talk about PDD for a while. It'll come up at the annual chapter meeting in December. It'll come up throughout the year. The collaboration that we had with PMI Central Iowa, Central Illinois, and Central Indiana was amazeballs. I don't say that word very often, like rarely ever do I say that word, but it was fantastic. We had so much fun, so much input, just so much learning. It was really great. And all 3 chapters agreed that it worked out really, really, really well. So we're going to do it again next year. Now, we're going to offer it virtually. Very similar to what we did this last year. We did hear people's feedback and comments. We did a whole retro. We have a whole Trello board where we collected this information. Some things worked really well. Some things we will definitely be improving on. So we're very excited for this next year to roll out some improvements and better communication. And we're going to be in the next couple of weeks selecting a date and a theme, and we'll be posting stuff for it and getting information out much earlier in the year than we did this last year. But we also will, even though this is going to be all virtual, we also will be looking at options for an in-person hybrid setup for PDD. All three chapters will be looking to do something in person, maybe in conjunction with PDD or around PDD. But everybody's keeping an eye on COVID, and we'll keep an eye on that. So there'll be more to come on if we're going to do something in person, which we all know, we hear the feedback, and us ourselves miss being in person around other people, but we want to keep everybody safe and be responsible. So we'll be looking at best way to do that. And if we can do that for BDD, and as soon as we make a solid decision on that, we will let everybody know. But otherwise, it will be virtual, and we'll be posting information for sponsors and for volunteers. And we'll be doing a speaker search. So you'll be hearing information about PDD. We're going to try to get something. I want to get something out every month, but we'll see. If you guys have suggestions, speakers that you think are amazing that we should consider for PDD, please feel free to send that information in to really any chapter officer. You can send that into the president. You can send that into the VP of professional development, the director of PDD. That email address is monitored. So feel free to communicate that up to us. We're always looking for suggestions for speakers. So yeah, that's going to be 2022.
All those exciting possibilities. Yeah, should be
Absolutely.
fantastic. So there'll be more about that, I'm sure, to talk about in future weeks, months, as next fall rolls around. The other upcoming events, I think you mentioned briefly that there is an upcoming annual meeting where we'll talk a little bit about the business of the chapter and the things that we were able to accomplish this year, as well as spend some time engaging in some virtual sociality. Is there anything we wanted to mention about that that's good or big? Or
I do like the annual chapter meeting. It gives us a great opportunity to look at our highlights throughout the year. It's I do miss us doing the big posters, which I hope that we do when we can start meeting back in person. We can do those again because those were fun. But we'll do it'll be similar to last year. We'll do a quick slideshow of our accomplishments this year, and then we'll get to the fun stuff.
Yeah, and we'll get a chance to preview some of the incoming leaders for 2022. So if you're wondering about faces to put with names that we haven't mentioned yet, but that's okay. We'll get to those in a future discussion at some point. You'll be able to match faces with names with positions with other things that will be happening at the annual meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, definitely some fun social stuff. I know last year we had a lot of fun playing sort of the virtual Jackbox games experience, and gave away a few prizes, some pretty cool stuff. We may do the same. We'll see what happens. But it will be a chance to, get out and enjoy some time socializing with other people in the PM community. And by get out, I mean, stay at home and be stuck behind the screen, just like we are right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're still in virtual mode, and probably will be for a while, depending on COVID rates and the like. I know that there's several of our board members who are they've like, come on, we want to meet in person, we miss people. And then there's also some board members who are like, we miss people, but we're immune compromised family over here, so we're still definitely keeping an eye on the situation, and looking for opportunities to go back to not go back to in person, but add in-person events back into our rotation. So
yeah, we firmly believe supporting both of those groups of people is important. I know that over the course of the pandemic, I've been in both groups I think that's true for you too.
Yes.
So, so yeah, whichever group you're in, we're here for you, and we're hoping that they'll be part of the catalog of offerings for 2022 that will be appealing for you.
Mhm.
We'll find out.
Yep.
You know, there were a few other sort of just informational things that we wanted to make sure we talked about
Mhm.
in the pre-show, which of course premium subscribers will be able to access in some fashion. Wink. Um, we mentioned so it was important to talk about PMI-CIC 7th edition. So the 7th edition of the Project Management Body of Knowledge Guide is out and available. If you are a member at PMI, you can download a PDF copy of that at no cost. You should be able to see, if you're watching the video version of this, a link to that site. We'll have a link in the show notes or on the blog post or wherever you're referencing or hearing this. So if you are a member, you can log in, register, and download that, and just have it available to you for free. I know personally, I'm not a fan of having the big heavy books, only to use them for home defense. They're great for swacking burglars, but just carrying them around can be a little bit cumbersome. So I prefer soft copies of things. And so this is a great option for me. I love the PDFs. How about you, Lynn? Are you more of a PDF person, or do you prefer to smack people with books?
So I like the books to have on my bookshelf
Mhm.
because I've collected them so far. Um, I don't have the first edition. I'm looking for a physical copy of the first edition, but I have all the other ones. But I do use the PDF more often than I use the physical book.
Oh, fantastic. Might as well call that out. If you have or are able to locate a first edition PMBOK, let Mrs. Aubrey know, and
Let me know.
perhaps an arrangement can be struck.
Hopefully, that would be awesome. Love to have a copy.
Other things that would be helpful or beneficial to know: there is an upcoming event related to diversity and inclusion. It's on December 7th. There'll be a link. Again, we'll put this in the show notes or on the blog post or wherever you're hearing or seeing this. That we'll be talking about how to navigate a culture of inclusion, understanding that you have to meet and reach people where they are, and not everybody is at the same place on that inclusion and diversity journey. And so there'll be a panel discussion talking about that. It is a virtual event, and you do need to register by the day before, but that information is going to be available at the link that we posted here.
Yep. Yep. And diversity and inclusion is a really big topic right now. I don't know about everybody else, but there's been a lot of it at work. I've gotten in a couple of other personal groups that I'm in. Yeah, it's a huge topic right now. So a good time to jump on this opportunity, sit through the workshop.
Absolutely. And could you pull up the page for the chapter just real quick? While Lynn's
Sure.
doing that, I want to mention to everybody that we alluded to the upcoming event with the annual meeting and all of that, but we wanted to make sure that it was clear, everybody knew exactly when and how to engage with that. Our annual meeting will be December 9th at 6 p.m.
Mhm.
That is a 6, right? This is like an eye
Yes,
test for me.
it is.
6.
I know it's probably really small for you. And it's one of the fun things about Zoom. It's like, well, it's huge on my screen because I have a large screen. I don't know how you're viewing me, so you may not be able to read that. Yeah, 6 p.m. That's usually when we've started the evening meetings. We get together when we're in person, usually about like 5:15 to do networking, and then the program starts, a little bit after that. So 6 p.m. on Zoom. Register through the website. It's free. BYOB,
Free for members.
BYOF.
Bring your own breakfast club. Is that right?
Yes. Yes. I was thinking bring your own beverage, bring your own food.
Also beverage. Yes. Yeah, we encourage the bringing of the own beverages. Absolutely.
Yes. Yes. So, yep, Thursday, December 9th.
In a future discussion, we would hope to include Brian Shadle, who's incoming president-elect for 2022, and add his thoughts to the discussion, and maybe use that opportunity to focus on some things looking further forward out into the future for the PMI chapter. We'd be excited to talk about those things as well, I think. Was there anything else that we wanted to make sure we covered? I know we had an extensive pre-show conversation, and again, if you're a premium subscriber, you'll be able to get some access to that at some point.
We did. I would like to, the one thing I really would like to touch on is the projectmanagement.com. If you have not gone out to projectmanagement.com, I really recommend it. There's a lot of stuff out there for project managers. There's webinars, there's, knowledge and tools, there's articles, there's lots of information out there. If you haven't been out there, feel free to go out there and take a look at all the things that are there. I believe that there is the webinars, a lot of them are have PDOs. I don't know if you go to them, if they submit the PDUs for you, or if you have to do that for yourself. But there is PDU opportunities out there. So I highly recommend that. Also, in realm of PDUs, I do want to point out that chapters offer a lot of PDU opportunities. So your chapter members, we love it when you attend our stuff, and we'd like for you to attend our stuff. We put a lot of volunteer time and effort into organizing things that hopefully you're interested in, but there's a lot of chapter activity going on out there. So keep an eye on some chapters, because a lot of them are doing virtual things right now that are available for PDUs. So there's always ways to get a hold of your PDUs if you need them for your certifications. So,
and for example, I think the Central Indiana chapter is actually doing something right now during this taping.
I think I think they are. Yeah. And so, you're looking for something on Wednesday nights. There's a chapter out there offering virtual content on Wednesday nights. I can guarantee it.
So for those of you who would have loved to have heard about that in Indiana Department of Transportation presentation, it was about project management and construction, I think. Sorry, you just missed it.
Sorry.
But there'll be more things. Watch this space.
Sorry, watch this space. Yes. And some chapters, I think that some of the virtual stuff that they offer, they might have ways, if you register, that you could watch it later afterwards. A lot of chapters are looking at that and finding ways of, you can't be there live. Well, we recorded it. So, and that's something that we did for PDD. We offered it for a limited time after the event, where you could go and catch up on things that you missed, because we had a lot of concurrent sessions. We'll be doing that again next year too. That worked out really nicely, and people did take advantage of that. So we'll continue to look at offering a live event and record it so that people can watch it again later. Definitely
one of the unintended benefits of the pandemic land is that people are leaning into virtual a little bit more. Makes things a lot more accessible. Absolutely. Especially for premium subscribers.
Absolutely.
I sure hope we don't have to deliver on this premium subscriber thing, right?
Right? I'm like, oh, we're gonna have to do like a blooper reel and everything. Oh my gosh. Oh. Yeah, there's the pre-show. Yeah, we talked for like an hour before we actually started recording this, and there's lots of other topics to cover. There's things that we can talk about, like PMI or PM 4.0, some of the micro certifications that are coming out, the current status of the DASM, the Discipline Agile Scrum Master and Senior Scrum Master certifications, changing CEOs of PMI Global. There's lots of things that we can touch on. So we definitely are queuing up some topics for future conversations. So not just chapter related items, but global related items and PM specific items, things that chapter may not be doing, but you as project managers might be interested in. And I have to say, we do default to saying project managers, but in our brain, we're also including program managers and portfolio managers and business analysts. The project management industry will be touching on topics that pertains to the industry as a whole. So not just and only project managers. Everybody else who works in this area is important too. So we'll be touching on things for them as well. As I said at the top of the session, if you have ideas, things you'd like us to talk about, things you'd like us, the chapter, to do a session on or provide more information on, absolutely, we're always looking for ideas. Please feel free to reach out to us and let us know your thoughts.
And if you're
Lightly,
interested in
though.
hearing about those topics, subscribe to the pod and you'll be able to get them.
Exactly.
And if you pay for premium access, then other unspecified things will also happen.
Right, you'll get virtual t-shirts and stickers.
There you go. Was there anything else that we felt like was just crying out to be spoken of on behalf of our members?
I'm not sure about crying out. There's always things going on at the global level. Keep an eye out on PMI.org on things that they're doing and conferences and the status of that. It's been, pandemic really, up in the air, and they did at one point, Global said, we're not doing anything in person, we're doing everything virtually. And they offer things, when they offer it virtually, there's always an opportunity that they'll be offering it on demand for a while after the live event happens, which is fantastic. Thank you, PMI Global, for that. So keep an eye out on that. And yeah, that's the big thing. Those are the big pieces at the moment.
All sounds like worthwhile advice. I guess the only other thing I'd want to throw in is definitely watch this space for additional conversations, additional president chats. I know we talked about book club and breakfast club, and maybe this will be president's club. We're still settling on a title, I think.
Right.
So
I
one
kind of like
possibility
that.
among, yeah. If you have a better idea, subscribe to the pod and let us know.
Let us know. Excellent. All right. We'll see you next time. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.